Did you know that the term Middle East was invented by a British naval officer sitting in his London office, and it has nothing to do with how people in that region actually see themselves? Welcome to Rare Global Conversations. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maya, and today we are diving deep into one of the world's most talked about regions. We'll explore which countries make up the Middle East, how this name came to be, and why this region holds such massive significance in our modern world.
Plus, we'll help you learn some essential English words and phrases along the way that will boost your fluency. So, grab your favorite drink and let's start this fascinating journey together. Maya, let's start with the basics. When someone says Middle East, what countries are we actually talking about?
That's a great question, Alex. And honestly, it's more complicated than most people realize. The core countries that everyone agrees on include Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Turkey, and the Gulf states like UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain. But here's where it gets interesting. Some definitions include Egypt and Libya from North Africa, while others add Afghanistan and Pakistan from South Asia.
The boundaries are quite fluid, which brings us to an important English phrase: grey area. A grey area means something that's unclear or uncertain, not black and white. For example, whether Cyprus belongs to the Middle East is a grey area among geographers. Maya, I'm curious about something. How did this region get the name Middle East in the first place?
This is where the story gets really interesting, Alex. The term was coined in 1902 by Alfred Thayer Mahan, an American naval strategist writing for a British audience. He needed a way to describe the area between the Near East, which was the Ottoman Empire, and the Far East, which meant East Asia. So from a European perspective, this region was literally in the middle of their Eastern interests. The British loved the term because it helped them organize their colonial strategy and trade routes to India.
Here's another useful English phrase: coined a term. To coin a term means to invent or create a new word or phrase. For instance, Shakespeare coined many terms that we still use today.
But here's what's fascinating. The people living in this region never called it the Middle East themselves. Arabs referred to it as Al-Mashriq, meaning the place where the sun rises, or simply the Arab world. Persians call their area Khaware Meane, and Turks have their own regional names. It's a perfect example of how outsiders can name and define regions based on their own perspective.
This brings up an important English concept: point of view or perspective. Your perspective is how you see and understand something based on your position or experience. From a European perspective, this area was in the middle, but from a local perspective, it was the center of their world.
Now, Alex, let's talk about why this region is so significant today. First, there's the obvious reason: oil and natural gas. The Middle East contains about 60% of the world's proven oil reserves and 40% of natural gas reserves. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and the Gulf states are energy powerhouses.
This makes them incredibly influential in global politics and economics. Here's a useful business phrase: economic powerhouse. A powerhouse means something very strong and influential. Germany is an economic powerhouse in Europe. But Maya, energy isn't the only reason this region matters so much, right?
Absolutely not, Alex. The Middle East sits at the crossroads of three continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. Some of the world's most important shipping routes pass through here. The Suez Canal in Egypt connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, handling about 12% of global trade. The Strait of Hormuz between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula is even more critical. About 20% of all oil shipped worldwide passes through this narrow waterway. If anything happened to block these routes, it would cause massive disruptions to the global economy.
This gives us another important English phrase: strategic location. Strategic means important for achieving a goal, especially in business or politics. Singapore has a strategic location for international.
The region is also incredibly significant culturally and religiously. It's the birthplace of three major world religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Jerusalem is sacred to all three faiths, which partly explains the ongoing conflicts there. Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia are Islam's holiest cities. Millions of people make pilgrimages to these places every year.
Here's another word to add to your vocabulary: pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is a journey to a sacred place for religious reasons. Many Christians make a pilgrimage to the Vatican.
Alex, we should also mention the region's rich historical significance. This area was home to some of humanity's earliest civilizations. Ancient Mesopotamia, located in modern-day Iraq, is often called the cradle of civilization.
Yes, I know this. The first cities, the first writing systems, and the first legal codes all developed here thousands of years ago.
That's right. And do you know the Persian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Islamic Golden Age all flourished in this region? These civilizations made huge contributions to mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy that still influence us today.
Let's learn another useful phrase: flourished. To flourish means to grow successfully or thrive. Art and science flourished during the Renaissance period. But Maya, we can't discuss the Middle East's current significance without addressing the challenges the region faces.
You're absolutely right, Alex. The region has been dealing with ongoing conflicts, political instability, and economic challenges.
Yes, I know about the Syrian civil war, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia, and the aftermath of various military interventions have created complex problems.
These issues affect not just the region, but the entire world through refugee movements, terrorism concerns, and economic impacts. However, it's important to remember that this is also a region of incredible resilience and innovation. Countries like the UAE and Qatar have built modern, diverse economies. Israel has become a technology hub, often called the startup nation. Jordan and Lebanon have shown remarkable ability to adapt despite challenging circumstances.
Here's an important word: resilience. Resilience means the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. The community showed great resilience after the natural disaster. Maya, what about the cultural contributions we see today from the Middle East?
That's such an important point, Alex. The region continues to produce influential literature, cinema, music, and art that reaches global audiences. Authors like Orhan Pamuk from Turkey and filmmakers from Iran regularly win international awards. The food culture has spread worldwide. Everyone knows hummus, falafel, and kebabs now.
Arabic music influences global pop music, and Middle Eastern fashion is increasingly popular internationally.
This cultural exchange helps people around the world understand the region beyond just news headlines.
Let's learn the phrase cultural exchange. Cultural exchange means sharing ideas, traditions, and practices between different cultures. Student exchange programs promote cultural exchange between countries.
And looking toward the future, Alex, the Middle East is positioning itself as a bridge between East and West. Countries are investing heavily in renewable energy despite being oil-rich. The UAE and Saudi Arabia are building some of the world's largest solar power projects. They are also investing in education, technology, and tourism to diversify their economies.
Here's our final vocabulary word: diversify. To diversify means to vary or expand into different areas. The company decided to diversify its business to reduce risks.
So there you have it. The Middle East is far more than just a geographical region. It's a complex, dynamic area that continues to shape our world in countless ways.
From its strategic location and energy resources to its rich cultural heritage and ongoing innovations, the region remains central to global affairs. We've also learned some fantastic English words and phrases today that you can use in your daily conversations.
Remember words like gray area, coined a term, powerhouse, strategic location, pilgrimage, flourished, resilience, cultural exchange, and diversify. What surprised you most about today's conversation?
Did you learn something new about the Middle East that changed your perspective? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love reading your insights and questions.
If you enjoyed this global conversation, make sure to hit that like button and share it with friends who love learning about world affairs.
And here's something important. We release new episodes every Tuesday and Saturday, so subscribe and ring that notification bell